Welcome to our podcast, SoulGarden. This is episode 19. This podcast is brought to you by Soulflower. And today is, I think it's April 6th, 2025. Is it April 6th? I think so. If not, forgive me. I think it's April 6th. Let's get into our disclaimer so we can get into our conversation for today. This is not a formal podcast. We cuss. We talk about controversial issues. We talk about the stuff that is normally censored and political correction and other things. Although we do show everyone dignity, that is a given. We are not at all claiming to be the most correct on anything or the most formal. So this is if you want, you're working and you can listen to a podcast, or you're traveling somewhere and you just want something of value to listen to. It's like listening to a radio show. You know what I'm saying? So it's not formal, but it's a little bit more explicit. We have explicit material. That's why this podcast is not for kids under the age of 18. We are not in agreement with anyone under the age of 18. I don't care if they're 17 and a half, 17 and 3/4. If you don't want them exposed to this material, we absolutely don't want them exposed to this material under the age of 18. That's your domain, that's not ours. So we're moving forward. Last but not least, we don't reach out to you for services. We don't own the rights to the background music. And some of the presented material. We will, of course, give the accolades to the creator for any of the concepts and the music and material. Right now, we are listening to a frequency by Body and Spirit on YouTube, and it's called Frequency of God, Return to Oneness and Spiritual Connection. I think has something to do with crown chakra activation as well. So we just kind of go with the flow with the podcast. We use different things. So this is like I said, a frequency, so you can listen to it with your headphones and benefit from that. Okay, let's get into our topic for today. Now that it's over with, we're going to talk about inner mastery. Inner mastery is the ability to have a balance of mind, body, and spirit as our default state of being. That means that if you ever get out of balance with your mind, body, and spirit, you possess the ability, this skill is the ability to return back to that balance. And the way that you do that is also included in this podcast, which is vibration. Vibration is the state of being on a mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual level. So everything is vibration. Everything has a vibration. Everything is energy. But also everything has a vibration. Vibration means it moves. It has its own movement, its own way of being. Okay? Its own state of being. And everything that we can see and we can't see has a vibration. For instance, energy is something that we can't see. I don't know why we don't believe in the things we can't see and can't hear and can't feel. All of that. Just because you can't do it doesn't mean it's not there. You know, just because I don't eat a Taco Bell don't mean it ain't a Taco Bell around the corner. It still exists and it still has a right to exist. It has its own vibration. And we're going to get into why you may or may not, we're going to get into vibration and why we do things, why we're attracted to certain things. We'll get into, but we're going to scrape the surface of it. I'm going to do my best to keep this short and sweet because there are way better creators out there that explain this. And we're going to talk about one of those creators as well. And I'm going to put a link for that in the description box below if I have the confidence to do it this week. If not, just know I wasn't able to do it. All right, because I'm not lying to you. I'm just technically challenged at this time, and I'm learning. All right. Vibration is a state of being that must have the harmony of mind, body, and spirit. We talked about that. Um, that is an absolute. Okay, there aren't many. The only absolutes are the laws, and vibration is definitely a law. A law is something that is a phenomena that is constant, that is absolute. And what that means is it's going to occur no matter what the circumstance, no matter what the experience. And the law of vibration is one of those things because vibration is made of energy. It's just energy, the speed of energy. Okay, so that is that on that. Humans, we have what they call a mind body spirit complex, which means that we have uh, a multitude of variations of vibrations throughout our body. Many living souls and living beings do. But when it's complex, it means that it's not just one vibration. There are like consciousness is a bunch of little things that starts out individual and branches out into groups as patterns tend to do. So, all right. Here's another nice thing I found. It says vibrations in quantum physics. My bad, y'all. Means everything is energy. We are vibrant beings on certain frequencies. Every vibration is equivalent to a feeling, and in the world, vibrational. So, just like we said that vibration is energy that is moving, right? That is also a definition of feelings. Okay, our emotions. E is energy, motions, energy in motion. Okay, feelings is individual. Energy in motion is when it's on a bigger scale. It's more complex. Okay, so when we get out of the category of singularity or individuality, we go into collectivity and complexity because there's different authentic aspects of a thing that have their own consciousness working together as one. Because everything is love, everything is light, and everything is unity. I hope that makes sense. But vibration in quantum physics means everything is energy. We are vibrant beings on certain frequencies. Every vibration is equivalent to a feeling and in the world vibrational. There are only two species of vibrations, positive and negative. So Uh, Notice that says species. Any feeling makes you broadcast a vibration that can be positive or negative. So that's like radio, right? We broadcast a specific frequency. Our physical reality exists as a vibration. I think I mentioned that earlier as well, and everything in it. For instance, our physical reality exists as a vibration, but it exists as the vibration of solid, liquid, or gas. Okay? And we tune into those different things based upon our consciousness. Some of us can pick up on the different aspects of our reality, and some of us cannot. Our physical reality, and some of us cannot. We acknowledge all of us acknowledge the physical reality. Uh, I think our misidentification with the non-physical reality is what fucks us up. So yeah, um, our physical reality, which is called mass, it's a slower vibration. That's why it is so heavy and so awkward. If you think of picking up anything that's not living, there's a dead weight to it. It's mass. And it's vibrating low, and it's also said that it's of lower consciousness. But I beg to differ because we have crystals, and crystals are mass, but they tend to be of higher vibration than us. So the vibration, well, since they broke down positive and negative, of course we want to be on the positive side. However, for a vibration to be natural, it must acknowledge and allow positive and negative for harmony. Okay? We can't have a complete harmony by just focusing on one aspect of a thing. We must acknowledge and allow all of those aspects, and vibration is no different. Vibration is, in fact, one of the most important things we must be aware of in order to become aware of what's going on around us in a conscious way. Uh, we can help you with that with our tool mindfulness, but again, that's up to you. You can go. You actually don't need us. You can actually go and Google all of this shit, or go to the library, or even you really don't have to do that. You can just start meditating, and you'll be led to what you need to be led to, or whatever it is. Because everybody's not, meditation. Everybody's not down with meditation. There are many ways to get downloads. Find the way for you to receive downloads that is most natural to you. For us, meditation helps us. It helps us to come to a place of receiving. Um, it helps us to, for lack of just a clear explanation. That old adage that says "stop and smell the flowers." It helps us to do that. We live in a society, as we know and said and heard millions of times, is so fast. However, clarity doesn't come when we are distracted, you know, when we're unaware, when we're unconscious. Clarity only comes when we slow down and get still, so that we can become aligned with and in tune with what it is that we are intending to, attract or create at that time. All right. Now, ideally, we do want to ascribe to vibe higher so that we can acknowledge and accept the darker aspects of ourselves in our environment. Okay? And the vibrate higher means, which is the positive, in the positive categories of vibration, to constantly choose the state of mind that's in tune with our soul's highest purpose. So we have to consciously choose basically how we want to feel. And I know that sounds impossible, but it's absolutely not. Raising a vibration invokes a feeling of bliss and oneness with the rest of the universe. It's a daily practice that includes trusting your intuition, living in peace, choosing love, and focusing on positivity. Tune in with your best self and know that we are all connected. If you do this, and this is my experience in my path, what I've discovered, because I've spent 25 years working on this skill right here, and it's been a journey. I thought that I was supposed to always be quote unquote happy, always be in a great mood, always be able to bounce back from things with a perspective that, you know, is bright. However, that has truth in it, but that truth has to have the balance of seeing things the way that they are. Okay? It needs that balance, because if not, we run into becoming imbalanced with vibrating higher. And that tends to run us into spiritual bypassing, which we talked about that a couple of podcasts ago. It was a really good discussion. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. But yes, our intention is to vibrate higher. But just like a dance, sometimes you have to step back in order to step forward. And mindfulness teaches us that you can be okay with stepping back in order to step forward. Mindfulness teaches you to have patience and acceptance, and most of all, compassion for yourself. It also helps with your gratitude. So, yeah, it's good to check out. Like I said, if you want more information on that, you could just email us at soulflower, SOULFLWR, LLC. Wait a minute. I'm getting mixed up. It's Soulflower, SOULFLWRINC at gmail.com. And we'll be more than happy to give you more details about that. But yeah, let me get into the next slide here, and we'll talk a little bit further about this. We'll build on this. So now, well, before we do that, let's talk about this, because this shit right here is some shit you need to know. Inner mastery pitfalls, spiritual bypassing, and self betrayal. That's just off the top of my damn head. And them are the two examples I'm going to stick with right there. And because there's so many different ways to self betray, and there's so many different ways. What was the other one? Self betrayal. Oh, wait a minute. I lost the job. It's self betrayal and spiritual bypassing. Yeah, thank you, Spirit. Spiritual bypassing. There's so many, and spiritual bypassing is the imbalance that you get when a symptom of the balance that you get when you are seeking to vibrate higher instead of doing shadow work to balance it out. And that's what balances it out: shadow work, and with mindfulness and inner work. We got the tools, y'all. We got the tools. We just have to know what it is in order to address it. And like I said, once you get anything, once I just heard this today. I can't remember where I heard it from. I was watching something and they said, once you understand a thing, it's simple. Oh, I was watching something with Bob Proctor today. Oh yeah, it was about vibration, and he was saying once you understand a thing, it becomes simple. But a lot of us get caught in the pitfall of having a lower vibration of not loving ourselves. I consider lower negative vibrations. It could carry a lot of untruths, but it could carry a lot of truth too. Um, well, maybe that's the difference between lower vibration and darkness, because darkness has to deal with the unconscious, the things that you don't know. Shadow deals with you know a lot of that shit. It's a mixed bag. So, but all of this is inner mastery pitfalls, and all of that you have to untangle for yourself. No one can do that for you. And once you really, really, really get get into it, you find out there's nothing to be forgiven, and everything is what it is. So that's a big high. Y'all don't, you know, you ain't gonna feel that. You ain't gonna feel that at all. Especially if you're just starting this journey. Know that. But yeah, know that every feeling that you have, they matter. And they gotta matter most of all to you, man. That's one of the keys to inner mastery too. If you don't trust yourself, that's an inner mastery pitfall. You're not gonna get anywhere. You're gonna end up back circle around in the same fucking cycles that you've always been in. And I'm not judging you because I don't have the right to judge anybody. um, I understand that. Shadow work brings that understanding. Once you truly see that you are everything in every experience, you tend to, it tends to change your perspective naturally. You don't have to really work to change your perspective once you reach a certain level of inner mastery. You're willing to do it. You actually become more willing to be wrong than right, if the wrong and right existed. I'm using it for the sake of clarification and understanding on your part. So, all right, I think that's all I gotta say about inner mastery pitfalls. Back to vibrational alignment, leveling up. Love, light, and unity are the anchors of a balanced vibration. So that means no matter what the fuck you got going on, what you're trying to align, some love, some light, and some unity need to be in that shit in order for it to prosper and grow in a way that it's going to last. We're not saying that, you know, it won't prosper in other ways. That's untrue. I think religion has really fucked us with that. Um, because it really didn't explain to us. And maybe that wasn't its purpose. I think the purpose of religion and science and all of these things are to build a foundation for us to just further explore and expound on and evolve from. So maybe that's the true meaning of vibrational alignment. It's just being aware that everything must have love, light, and unity in it in order for it to be eternal. Well, darkness is eternal as well, but it's a part of light. Well, light's a part of darkness. Uh, so yeah, I lost my train of thought with it, and I know I left y'all. I don't know. I don't know if I left y'all unclear or not. If I did, you know, SoulFLWRINC@gmail.com. You can talk to me about it there, and I'll address it on the podcast. Okay. All right. Well. Oh, unforgiveness. I forgot about that, John. Yeah. What's this? Collective program to be a follower, not a seeker that evolves into self leadership. Oh yeah, yeah. Being a follower is definitely um, a form of self betrayal. Um, everyone ha- is divinely. I'm looking for the word. Mandated to self leadership, especially if we're all a part of the same thing, which is divine consciousness. Um, I also want to note here that self betrayal is, well, all of this shit is the arch nemesis of the other sheep collective. I I don't know. I'm thinking about doing something that just really describes this group of people, because they're very rare in our society, and I know they're rare. I'm one of them, and I know they exist. They're just fucking hermits, and well, they're not all hermits, but there's a certain vibration that they have, and it's a type of oneness you feel with this particular group because of our um, soul relativity. But anyway, self betrayal is most definitely the arch nemesis of the other sheep collective. We must remain seekers and leaders of ourselves, because 9 times out of 10, a lot of us have had lives that is so fucked up that people have mistreated us so much. And yes, I said they've mistreated us. They made the choice to mistreat us. Thereby, we are literally uh, valid victims in this. Oh, something's happening. Give me a minute here, y'all. Something's going on. My computer just decided to do something strange. I lost my train of thought too, y'all. Give me just a second. It's not even letting me put it on pause, y'all. Dang it, boy. What happened? Alright, I think we're back cooking with grease. Alright, yeah. My bad, y'all. I don't know what happened. Mercury is in retrograde, and it's been retrograding my ass. We already talked about this. Well, have we? Yeah, we mentioned it earlier. The high versus low vibration, high vibrations, love, light, unity, and all of its constituents. Low vibration is anger. It's actually just fear and anger, which are twins, and all of their variations. Another example of this is fear, envy, jealousy, pettiness. We love to be petty. That's low vibration. Something else. there's a well there yeah, we got low vibrational thoughts, low vibrational emotion, which go yeah, they turn into low vibrational emotions, which turn into low vibrational behaviors, which turn into low vibrational habits and routines, which lead into low vibrational cycles, which turn into low vibrational lifetime. So that's how it kind of you kind of escalate into the complexities of low vibrations. High vibration is the same way, the same thing. You start with high vibrational thoughts, move to high vibrational feelings, high vibrational practices, which is actions, which go into routines, which go into cycles, which goes into high vibrational life. So that's how you kind of ascend or descend. Okay, I know you've heard we are ascending. Some of us have. I have a well, my mentor's mentor, very dear to our hearts and soul flower. We call her Moot, and she always says we are ascending. And that really was a catalyst for a lot of my study, and I got a lot of enrichment out of that. Just that statement and studying that statement alone. So hopefully I'll get to have the honor. We'll have the honor of having Mood on our podcast. But I don't know, I'm kind of scared to ask her right now. We don't have a lot of people listening right now, and I want to make sure that uh, her voice uh, and her knowledge, her wisdom is heard. So, but yeah, I could still do it damn right, because it's not like I'm gonna take these motherfuckers down, because I'm not. All right, let's see if we can move on. I think I had something else before we go into the. No, I didn't. All right, so let's go into our energy report first. That concludes our discussion for today. Well, I do. I still hadn't told y'all what I wanted to tell y'all early in the podcast. Before we get into energy report, so there's this lady, and I did not add it to the presentation. Uh, I think I'll just post it on our homepage. But she has this chart, and it talks about the different states of being and what frequency they're on. And she actually has a really good channel. Let me see. Her name, when I was doing a little brush up on vibration, I found her. She's called the Emirati Coach. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I hope I'm honoring whoever that is. Love, light, and unity to you. But that is a YouTube channel. Please like, share, subscribe not only to this channel, but to the Emirati Coach channel, because I've gotten some valuable information off of there. And she has short videos, and they're very informative. So if you want to head over there and do that, and she has, again, I'm gonna post it on our page, but she has a really nice description of vibration and how vibration works, and how and all of it. So did a way better job than I could ever do on this podcast. uh, I am a spiritual teacher and a practical teacher. However, when someone has a technique for a specific concept, or if they have a better understanding of it, because I believe when you can teach something, you can show that you truly understand it. When I feel like someone understands it better than I do, uh, I'm definitely going to refer you to them, okay? Because I'm not out here trying to I ain't out here. I'm not out here for a competition. I'm out here for a service to provide you these tools so that you can figure out what the fuck going on in your own life for yourself and mind your own damn business. All right. So that's that on that. So now to the energy report. So Mercury will come out of retrograde tomorrow. It is April the 6th, y'all. I was right. This is week 1. This energy right here is going to be kind of something that you can work with throughout the month though. Um, Mercury goes direct tomorrow. By the next podcast, which is next week, the full moon will be in Libra because we're in Aries season. We did go into Aries season a couple of weeks ago. I think we're mid at Aries season now. It's a great season. I always feel great in the series of Aries, and I've met some great Aries, and I've met some challenging Aries too. But for the most part, my experience with Aries has been awesome. They're great people. They're great. They can be great friends. Um, they're funny as hell. They are. They're protectors. They're very good people. Very good friend to have. Very, very entertaining. So, yeah, shout out and happy birthday to all the Aries. Um, let's see. Some of the messages that I got, and I'm reading from my notes here. It's time to do a final objective reflection of our past. Like we've been hearing that since January, right? So now they said doing like a cumulative review. I know back in the day when I was in school before I went to college, I think it was my elementary years. You would have your lesson, your practice, the test, and then you go on to like 3 or 4 other skills, and then after that, there's a cumulative review of all that shit. So, and then a test. So you need to do a cumulative review because there's a test coming. According to some of the astrologers that I've came across, uh, it's time to face our fears. We've been hearing it. It's time to see things as they are, despite what we want them to be. Yeah, it's always gonna be a fucking thing, y'all. So that's it on that. But I do repeat these things because a lot of times there'll be people who just find one particular podcast and it may not be in chronological order, so they need to hear it. It's covering people in all timeline, not just the present. Well, it'll be present no matter what. So this is a timeless message. If you so happen to find it right when uh, these things are aligning, it's time to review any contracts, files, and agreements. It's time to reconnect to yourself and spirit. Due to the eclipse season that we had a couple of weeks ago, which was strange, we are in a clearing process still. So we're still in the process of clearing shit out. Still a little residue of the old shit. And I know, you know, well, I know for me, I'm tired of hearing this shit, but nature doesn't work on our time, and the cosmos damn sure don't. So there is that. Um, these are uncertain times, so relax, spend time outside, work on your creative projects, do some reflection. I know for me, for Mercury retrograde, I did a lot of review of my good childhood memories. It was a great Mercury retrograde. I mean, don't get me wrong, we had like terrible technical issues and we didn't have any mechanical issues or anything like that. But we had communication issues. Then the classic Mercury retrograde stuff. But I enjoyed this one. So sometimes they suck. I ain't even gonna hold you, especially since my energetic makeup is affected by this particular energetic pattern. So let's see. Let's see. Areas to clear: love, sex, money, and relationship. So if you're really serious about these four categories, love, sex, money, and relationships, about changing this shit. And that means you can't go back on you. It would be wise not to like dip into this shit. You know how we do? Say we ain't doing something no more and dip back into it a little bit. Tell ourselves it's okay because we just dip it back into it a little bit. Now not time for this shit. Alright, so just that on that. Journal your dreams and ideas as they are erratic and eccentric as fuck. I know mine's been crazy as hell. Downloads are in heavy rotation for spiritual people. So if you identify with being spiritual or religious, I'm hearing you are religious people call that revelation. Revelation is there for you at this time. Downloads are there for you, spiritual people. Meditation and other practices that still your mind and body, and put you in a state of stillness. Yeah, that's going to help you receive those downloads, and that includes sleep because our inhibitions are the lowest. Um, those of us that need to do forgiveness work regarding those four categories that I mentioned earlier, which are love, money, sex, and relationship. Uh, that radical forgiveness by Colin Tippin is a good uh, concept to practice at this time because it helps you to forgive yourself and others on the grounds of being human, and that's the energy that you can benefit from and come to and that's the conclusion you can come to right now if you do the proper practices that are conducive to you. Okay. For the other sheep, there is a time for you to is an opportunity for you to come to clarity about why you feel like an outsider, why you feel misunderstood, why you feel unseen, why you feel like you're fighting an invisible force, why you feel overlooked, why you feel misplaced, why you feel like you're you don't get the same integrity that you don't get the reciprocation of the integrity that you project out into the world. You can gain more clarity about your spiritual wisdom. Uh, it's a good time for you to acknowledge your resilience, how far you've came, and you'll gain clarity about the people in your past who've taken advantage of you, as far as your gifts, talents, your integrity, and your empathy. Okay, which is what happens when we self-betray. All right, I think that's all the energy report. Yep, it is. And now we're going to do our mastery card pool. I didn't pull it before this. Wanted it to be fresh this time. Yeah. Those of you that go back and watch all of these videos, sometimes the mastery card might be the same. We might need to hear that shit again. That's what that means. As a part of learning, you're gonna have to see it more than once. It could be some shit we ain't doing right now. I think that one's it. Yes. Maintaining boundaries. Today I will gain a new awareness of those areas where I need healthier boundaries. I will release my naive assumption that the other person is always right. I will exchange that view for trusting and listening to myself and setting and maintaining healthy boundaries. That shit right there is the GOAT, because I have been in a relationship before where I made the assumption that that person was always right and that motherfucker was not. And it caused great suffering for both of us. Alright, so that relationship no longer exists. I am grateful for the lesson that I learned, and it was this lesson to not assume. That was my naivete, and that's a lot of naivete of the sheep. Um, I will release my naive assumption that the other person is always right. Okay, we gotta get our self-esteem up, y'all. We gotta get our self-esteem up. If it feel like it ain't right, that's true for you. You might find out later on that it might be more factors into it. But always trust your motherfucking feelings. Because even when you don't consciously have your own back, the divinity that's on the inside of you does still. Because that's the unconditional love of God. So, or the unconditional love of you. Alright, y'all. Thank y'all for listening to me. Again, this is Soulflower, and this is our SoulGarden podcast on YouTube. We got to get it on other platforms to get more exposure, and that's coming. For right now, we're on YouTube, but we do have presence on Facebook and TikTok. We're working on Instagram still. Please like, share, and subscribe, and that'll help out a lot. Again, thank you for tuning in, and thank you for listening to me. You know, I hope I said something to encourage you. I said something to add to the progression of your own path. I hope I gave you another reason to love yourself and to go to bat for you. Okay? Until next time, love, light, unity. Live well, but die free.